Did you know the Vikings reached North America nearly 5 centuries before Columbus? Their legendary journey across the Atlantic stands as one of history's most remarkable feats of exploration, showing just how far their ambitions and navigational skills could take them. That fact alone shatters the old image of Vikings as just horned-helmeted barbarians. In reality, the horned helmet is a myth, one of many misconceptions that have clouded our understanding of these fascinating people. The real Vikings were far more complex and intriguing than the stereotypes suggest. For too long we've seen them as mere raiders, but the Viking Age was an era of expansion, innovation, and cultural exchange. Their settlements stretched from the wind-swept coasts of Greenland to the rivers of Russia, and their influence touched lands as distant as Byzantium and the Middle East. Vikings were master mariners, traders, explorers, farmers, artisans, and poets, far more than just warriors. They built sturdy ships that could cross open seas and navigate shallow rivers, and their craftsmanship in metalwork, textiles, and wood was renowned across Europe. Their society was complex, governed by laws and assemblies called things, and made up of diverse communities from Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. These gatherings were places of debate, justice, and decision-making, reflecting a surprisingly democratic spirit for the time. The reasons for their expansion are still debated: overpopulation, resources, political instability, or the lure of wealth. But the result was a movement that reshaped continents. Their voyages brought new ideas, goods, and technologies, connecting distant cultures in ways never seen before. Let's look past the myths and examine the evidence. Ships, settlements, sagas, and graves reveal a sophisticated, influential people. Archaeology continues to uncover new details about their daily lives, beliefs, and far-reaching impact. Vikings weren't just a storm that passed, they changed the climate of an entire continent. Their legacy can still be seen in languages, place names, and even the genetic makeup of modern populations. This is the real story of the Vikings, not just raiders, but builders of a new world, whose spirit of adventure and innovation continues to inspire us today. The Vikings' world was connected by water, not roads, and their longships unlocked vast networks of trade and exploration. To the east, they sailed rivers into Russia and Ukraine, trading furs and slaves for silver and silks, reaching as far as Constantinople and Baghdad. This eastern expansion enriched Scandinavia and transformed Eastern Europe. To the west they settled the Faroe Islands, Iceland, and then Greenland, led by figures like Eric the Red. The sagas tell of Leif Erikson discovering Vinland, North America, around the year 1000, a story once dismissed as myth. Archaeology later confirmed these tales, revealing the Vikings' presence in the New World. Their trade routes connected the Islamic Caliphate's silver with Greenland's walrus ivory, creating a globalized economy. Viking explorations were deliberate, courageous pushes into the unknown, driven by ambition and curiosity. The discovery of North America was the ultimate expression of their relentless drive. Not all Vikings came to trade. Many came to conquer, driven by ambition, hunger for land, and the promise of riches across the sea. Nowhere was this more dramatic than in England, where the clash between Norse invaders and Anglo-Saxon defenders would change the course of history. What began as sporadic raids soon escalated into full-scale invasions, with entire armies crossing the North Sea. The most formidable of these was the Great Heathen Army, which landed in 865, intent on conquest rather than plunder. Led by legendary chieftains, these warriors captured the great city of York, toppled ancient Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, and established Norse rule over vast swaths of English land. Only the Kingdom of Wessex, under the determined leadership of Alfred the Great, managed to resist the Viking onslaught. After years of brutal conflict, a treaty was forged, creating the Danelaw, a region where Viking law, language, and customs would flourish. Viking leaders like Ivar the Boneless united thousands of warriors, employing not just brute force but also cunning strategy, psychological warfare, and the construction of fortified camps to maintain their dominance. Yet the Vikings were more than just destroyers. They were also state builders and settlers. They left a permanent mark on English culture, language, and even place names, blending Norse and Anglo-Saxon traditions. Many Vikings who came to conquer eventually stayed to farm the land, trade goods in bustling markets, and govern alongside the local population, shaping the society they once sought to dominate. The Danelaw stood as proof that Vikings could rule as well as raid, creating a unique blend of cultures and a new way of life in England. Their legacy is woven into the very DNA of England, visible in family names, local dialects, and the artifacts that still surface today. The Norse transformed the land they invaded, leaving an indelible imprint and helping to shape the nation's future for centuries to come. The longship was the heart of the Viking world, a marvel of engineering that made their expansion possible. Sleek and versatile, it could cross oceans and navigate shallow rivers, appearing anywhere with speed and surprise. Built with overlapping planks for strength and flexibility, the longship rode the waves instead of fighting them. Its shallow draft allowed beach landings, a key to Viking raids. Powered by a square sail and dozens of oars, it was fast and maneuverable. Steered by a side-mounted oar, our word starboard comes from this. More than a tool, the longship was a symbol of status and identity, often named and celebrated in sagas. Some leaders were even buried in their ships, destined to sail into the afterlife. The longship embodied the Viking spirit, daring, adaptable, and always reaching for the horizon. It was the vessel that carried them to legend. The Vikings' journey to North America stands as one of history's most daring and remarkable feats of exploration. Driven by curiosity, ambition, and the search for new lands, these Norse seafarers braved the unknown Atlantic, venturing far beyond the familiar shores of Europe. For centuries, Leif Erikson's legendary voyage to Vinland was shrouded in myth and uncertainty, an epic tale passed down through the Icelandic sagas. It wasn't until the 1960s that the story gained solid ground when archaeologists Helge and Anne Stein Ingstad uncovered unmistakable Norse buildings at Lance Os Meadows, Newfoundland. The site revealed turf-walled structures, a blacksmith's forge, and a trove of artifacts identical to those found in Greenland and Iceland, clear, tangible proof of a Norse presence in North America. These discoveries transformed legend into fact, rewriting the story of early exploration. Radiocarbon dating placed the settlement around the year 1000, perfectly matching the timeline described in the sagas. This evidence confirmed that the Norse reached the continent nearly 5 centuries before Columbus. Lance Os Meadows was likely a strategic base for expeditions seeking timber, furs, and other resources scarce in Greenland. The surrounding forests and rivers offered what the Norse homelands could not, making this outpost vital for survival and trade. The sagas also describe encounters, sometimes peaceful, sometimes hostile, with indigenous peoples, as well as the immense challenges posed by distance, harsh weather, and isolation from their homeland. After only a few decades, the Norse withdrew, unable to sustain the outpost amid these difficulties. The settlement was abandoned, its story nearly lost to time. Yet their achievement remains monumental, the first Europeans to cross the Atlantic and build a settlement in the Americas, centuries before other explorers would follow. It's a testament to their courage, seafaring skill, and relentless curiosity, a spirit that pushed the boundaries of the known world. The Vikings reached the very edge of their world, and in doing so, touched the edge of ours, leaving a legacy that still inspires wonder today. Vikings were more than warriors. They had a rich inner world, expressed in art, writing, and myth. Their art, with its swirling beasts and knotwork, decorated ships, weapons, jewelry, and stones, blending beauty with meaning. They wrote in runes, angular letters carved into wood, bone, and stone, used for short messages and memorials. Thousands of runestones still stand, commemorating the dead and connecting us to the Viking past. Their mythology was vivid. Gods like Odin, Thor, and Loki were complex, flawed, and deeply human. For Vikings, dying bravely in battle meant a place in Valhalla, feasting until the end of the world. Their faith was active, bold, and mirrored their own lives, full of struggle and honor. The Vikings' beliefs shaped their courage and their culture. Daily life in the Viking Age was rooted in the land, not constant adventure. Most lived on farmsteads by rivers or fjords, centered around a longhouse that sheltered family, workers, and sometimes livestock. Society was hierarchical, chieftains at the top, free farmers in the middle, and thralls, enslaved people, at the bottom. Life followed the seasons, summer for farming, fishing, and sometimes raiding, winter for repairs and storytelling. Women managed households, owned property, and had surprising independence for the era. The keys at their waist symbolized their authority. Vikings were skilled craftspeople, making everything from tools to textiles. Food was simple but hearty: meat, fish, grains, and wild foods. Children learned essential skills early, preparing for adult roles. It was a life of hard work, resilience, and strong community bonds. The Vikings' influence radiated across Europe, shaping nations and cultures. In the east, Swedish Vikings, the Rus, founded cities like Kiev and Novgorod, giving Russia its name. Many served as elite Varangian guards in Byzantium, earning wealth and prestige. In France, Viking chieftain Rollo was granted Normandy in exchange for peace, founding a powerful new state. The Normans, descendants of Vikings, became a dominant force, culminating in William the Conqueror's invasion of England in 1066. The Vikings' legacy was state-building, not just raiding. Their descendants changed the course of European history. The final, most successful Viking invasion of England came from those who had become French. The Viking Age ended in the late 11th century as Scandinavia embraced Christianity and centralized kingdoms. But the Viking legacy endures, in language, genes, and culture. Norse DNA is still found in northern England, Scotland, and Normandy. English is filled with Old Norse words, and even our weekdays are named for their gods. Place names across Britain echo their presence. The Vikings left us a spirit of exploration and early democratic thought, seen in Iceland's Althing. Their voyages to North America pushed the boundaries of the known world. Beneath the myths, Vikings were innovators, traders, poets, and pioneers who shaped the transition to the medieval world. Their story reminds us that history is complex, and so were they.